practice is very effective. It is essential, especially to our craft. So building our craft. Throughout the course of my career, there's something I noticed that I end up have to teach persons, and that is practice is very effective. It is essential, especially to our craft. So building our craft, right? So I'm going to head into my presentation to show you the importance of practicing. All right, I'm hoping everybody's still seeing my screen, right?
Yes, we are seeing the screen.
All right. First thing to note, what is practicing? So the definition I have here is a customary, habitual, or expected procedure or way of doing something. And there's a word I highlighted from that definition, which is habitual. Definition of habitual is done constantly or as a habit. So that in itself simply tells us that we need to make practicing our instruments a habit. All right, guys, I will get into that some more as to how often or frequent we should practice. All right, so how often we should practice? If you are new to your instruments, practicing 20 minutes per day, 5 to 6 times per week should be good. If you are an intermediate, practice 30 to 40 minutes per day. If you are advanced, practice at least an hour or more per day. Regardless of your level, practicing is consistently, regardless of what your level is, practicing consistently is very important. Right? So this simply means that no matter what level you are, you need to practice. If you're a beginner and you choose to practice more than 20 minutes per day, that will enhance your craft even more. You will reap more benefits than the expected person who would practice 20 minutes per day. All right? So practicing, the more you practice, the better you become. As the old saying always say, practice makes perfect, right? Why is it important to practice? A regular practice routine helps develop discipline and aids in the development of music reading skills and better techniques, fine motor skills, and muscle memory. And this is something I'd like to highlight: muscle memory. Persons who practice regularly improve more rapidly than those who practice sporadically. Now, I remember when I was a student at the Edna Manley College, I had a presentation to do. I don't know for the persons who are here would remember lunch hour. I'm sure Chris and Edward, who is here, would remember the experiences they had with lunch hour. Now, there was one performance I had, and I was not up to date with the piece itself. I was not ready, but it was mandatory for me to do that performance. And I remember when I went around the piano and I was looking in the audience, I was shaking more than a leaf. I can't even say like a leaf, I have to say more than a leaf, right? When I started playing, I played the first part of the piece well. When I reached to the second part of the piece, as Jamaicans would always say, all hell pop loose. My left hand playing what it's supposed to play, right hand even falling off of the piano. And by the time I got the courage to put back the right hand on the piano, the left hand drop off. Right? I'm bringing this to your attention to say muscle memory. The more you practice and what you practice, even if you are nervous and you don't know what to play, or you know, when you're nervous, so many things going through your mind, you can't even focus, you can't concentrate, right? The muscle memory is what will keep you going. I can tell you from experience, a lot of performances I had is just because of the rehearsal, nothing more, right? Because muscle memory is very important. It's very important for you to build. And the more you practice, you don't even have to think about it because the memory in your muscle will take over for you, right? So it is one thing to develop your muscle memory skills, right? For persons who are ear musicians who play by ear, it is good to do a little sight reading sometimes to develop that reading skills, right? And to better your technique, you definitely have to practice. So it is important for you to practice if you wish to become better at your craft or your instrument. How to practice an instrument effectively? First of all, you have to create the atmosphere for that. For me, at one point in my life, it was a drag. I was not motivated. Didn't want to practice. I would just go out and play, and I would not feel contented in myself. But there was a void there because I know what I could have done and how I could have filled that void so much more if I was practicing. And the method that I used, I had to create little things in order to drag me to the keyboard to practice, right? Now, what I had to do, one of the things that I had to do, I had to get the keyboard and I had to set it up in the living room. So every time I leave out of the room and come into the living room, I see the keyboard and it's like the keyboard calling my name. And I go around it and I might spend 5 minutes and then I get tired of it because it's the same thing again. And I get up and by the time I go in the room and come back, I see the keyboard again and I go back and I spend 10 more minutes until it reach half an hour until I said, all right, I'm tired of what I'm practicing now. I start researching materials to practice. You have to find different ways to motivate yourself, right? So you have to set that atmosphere to practice, right? Listen to a lot of music and repeatedly. Now, music is not only physical, it is also mental, right? I'm I'm the lead keyboardist at the Emmanuel Apostolic Church, and I can tell you this. Many a times I'm getting songs to practice or I'm getting songs to play at a service on the way to the service. And what I have to do, I have to sit down and work out the songs mentally. So when I actually reach, I know what I am going to play. So it is also knowing your instrument. You definitely have to know your instrument so that when you practice mentally, the more, as a matter of fact, the more you listen to the music, is the more your brain break down the music as musicians, right? You know the 5-4-6 progression when you hear it. You know the 2-5-6 progression, right? If it end on a minor key or a minor chord, you know it based on your experience and how much you practice. So it's also a mental thing to practice, right? So you have to listen a lot of music, especially when you want to learn a specific song. You have to listen to it repeatedly, and that is the way how you can pick up on the form and the chords and everything that are used to construct that composition, right? Warm up, like a physical workout. A warm up is essential. Now the first thing you do when you go around the keyboard, you warm up, and you will be so amazed the way how you would handle yourself, especially in a performance. If you warm up before you start that performance, you would be so amazed. You would feel so more relaxed when you actually warm up before, right? So you can imagine if you warm up and then you head into rehearsal or into the practice session. Trust me, you will feel way more accomplished at the end of that practice session. The next point I have here is to have a goal. Before you decide to practice, choose a song, choose a scale, choose a run, choose something that will motivate you to go around your instrument to practice, right? And at the end of the day, when you have accomplished that goal, you will feel more fulfilled, right? Be realistic about your decision. So you don't just get up and decide that, all right, I'm going to play Herbie Hancock Spain, and I'm just going to go and just practice. No, you have to choose material to your level. So you can't be a beginner and just take up a professional piece and think that you're going to get it. It doesn't come like that. It comes over time, right? So be realistic in the goals that you are setting. All right? Identify and overcome the problem. Now, this is something I tell a lot of my students, especially dealing with my CXC group. When you have a song or you have a piece to do, when you play, for example, section A and section B, if you play through section A and it is perfect and you have a problem in section B, do not start over from section A and go back to the problem in section B. Deal with the problem in section B, right? You can't overcome the problem by starting over from the top. Work on the issue that is the problem. So you have to identify where you made the mistake and work on the mistake to overcome that before you move on.